I was really looking forward to being finished with the bent laminations, so I wouldn't have to share the shop with the clamp porcupine, and things could just get back to normal. But having all these boxes stacked everywhere is not normal. I have a lot of experience working with lots of stacks of small parts, but with this project, the parts became objects that take up lots of volume right at step one. So it's somewhat of a logistical challenge to deal with moving them around when I have to do an operation on each of them in turn. The first operation I did was to square up the two ends of the case. When I made these cuts, I referenced off the same side of the case as the end was coming from. The ones that have the sculpting have more springback than the ones that don't, so they aren't all the same overall width at this point. That was all pretty straightforward, but because of the angle, one of the offcuts would fall on the blade, so I had to just shut off the saw and clear the offcut each time, which slowed things down a little bit. As you can see here, there's a little bit of flex in the case, and so before I do anything else, I want to connect the two ends together to eliminate that. And that's why I started by making the cuts on the ends. I made this fixture to hold the case. It has stops at the ends to force the cases to all be the same width, and a rail at the front and the back. With the case in place, I screwed on a template. I have a trim router attached to a large base plate and a piece of PVC pipe to act as a guide bushing. I've also made a little gauge so that I can set the bit depth repeatably so that all the cases will be the same. After a few passes, I had a flat area, and then I repeated the same process to create a flat on the other side, with just the addition of a board to keep from accidentally cutting into the higher end of the case. Then I planed a test piece until it was the right thickness to make up the difference between the two flats. Then I made another test piece to find the right angles. I'm making this part out of walnut because from a low enough vantage point, you'll be able to see it in the finished piece, and I want it to disappear in the shadows. To align the plate that actually joins the two ends, I made a little block that references off of the edge of the walnut piece. The walnut piece, in turn, is referenced off of the edge of the flat area. So the groove in the plate should, in turn, be parallel to that edge, which should be square to the back of the case and parallel to the sides of the case. Though I haven't flattened the faces of the case yet, so that could change slightly. I didn't think it made any sense to try to flatten those faces when the case had that flex in it. So that would be the next thing to happen. The slot in the plate is for a vertical divider, so it's important for it to be close to parallel to the sides of the case. But I think I have a plan that is going to end up giving me some room for adjustment on that.